from EP, do we think HEX will outperform everything? I think it's an interesting question because the PulseChain, PulseX is the new hype. HEX, even everything related to HEX is kind of like, oh, there's this new thing here. Why are we still trading them? What are they going to do? A lot of people who are excited about them are, shiny object syndrome, but within the ecosystem, which has pros and cons. But HEX being at a penny, and you got PulseX below SAC price, PulseChain barely over SAC price, incentive tokens in the mix now. Is there a case for HEX, from now, from the local bottom or so, outperforming everything? And I want time horizon.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think? I know I'm in that camp that HEX can still outperform everything in cryptocurrency, minus like the occasional Pepe or something. Like anything that's long financially, like a financial blockchain innovation like HEX, it's going to outperform everything, period.
Yeah.
Especially if like what I've been saying becomes true, right, about the supply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely more in that camp than I'm definitely more in the camp that HEX will outperform everything, especially if it becomes, it is like the quote unquote store of value on PulseChain at the very least. So there will be a certain segment of the user base taking profits into it and staking it out long term and or short term. And I don't see why not. Like I definitely think HEX will probably outperform everything long term. PulseX, everything will outperform it for some time, but I think it'll bring HEX up with it, and then HEX has its chance to outperform after it's brought up by it as well.
Broke up there for a moment, didn't get the last 10 seconds.
Oh, I agree.
And before access, you get into it too.
You call these angles, man. It's like you call the price action, and if it's not in the direction people want, they're upset. It's like, that's why I usually don't talk during certain times, and that's like, that's all I can say, man. It's better just to stay quiet a lot of times.
The most straightforward argument, though, is people bring up is, why would HEX outperform everything? It's not at its bottom. It's not at its all-time low. PulseChain has launched its new 10,000x meme narrative. How do you rationalize about that? How do you say that HEX is going to outperform everything when it's not the new?
Because the same guys that hold Pulse and PulseX were the guys that had all the HEX, so nothing changed. That's why, because this is supply and demand. It's not. Hold on, what chart am I? Okay, coin. I'm trying to show you guys on the chart what I'm talking about. Like, the same guys that have all the HEX have all the Pulse and PulseX. It's not new. The distribution is the same. Understand, please. Like, so all that matters is the downside. Like, if this downside goes, actually, from the very beginning of HEX to the bottom, 98.65%. Where are we at now? 97.79%. That's what you need, is you need full capitulation to the lows. And then this can repeat. Literally, it's a reset on the chart. Like, this can literally repeat. Potentially. Not guaranteed. But we need to get that last flush low. This thing's not going to go up until all of the people that are scared are out. I don't care if it takes 2 months or 10 months. They will flush out here, and then we can get the rip. Because this thing can turn around quickly when it does. It's not hard to pump HEX. It's a question of, is it worth even keeping it propped up? That's the question. And if you have all the supply, then it might be worth keeping propped up.
Mm-hmm. Especially because of 30-day rolling stakes or 14-day rolling stakes. There's really good yielding and passive income opportunities with having a high HEX price, and outside people providing liquidity at those levels to also earn a passive income as well, or a income. Maybe it's not passive if they're LPing.
Is it right to say that the average person doesn't think the way that a market maker does, and therefore sometimes we don't understand? Because I always try to put it in terms I understand. And I'm like, there's no way this could happen this way. But it really has to do with somebody making a market and what's their motivation for making a market.
Because the guy, yeah. So yes, the you can make a market if you know there's not enough ammunition after you make this move for them to dump it back down to here. How do you confirm? How do you make sure that they don't have enough ammunition? Because you bought it all down here. That's how you know. And then you can create price floors, and this can be, you can be in here profit taking over time because you've bought back all your time here. You and along with everybody else. And then because the price goes up so fast, it forces other people to have to reaccumulate a new range, which then creates structure going into that next bull run. With any help from Ethereum and Bitcoin, you can really get a nice leg up in this next bull, and we can go to multi-dollar targets. That has not changed. Nothing about that has changed.
Beautiful.
And, and by the way, I'm not saying that Pulse and PulseX can't overperform, but we don't want, it's kind of a catch-22 because if PulseChain does a 10,000x, well, now you're back with the fee problem again because you're basically back to where you started on Ethereum.
I thought we solved that already. I thought we got rid of the high fees. God damn it.
So it's like,
For now.
would you rather not that HEX pumps and then Pulse stays, let's say it only does like a 500x or 1,000x, but yet fees are still manageable? Or would you rather Pulse pumps like crazy and HEX just pumps a little more? It's weird. Like you got to think about these things, guys. Like it's not just new thing go up. It's not like that because the guys that have the Pulse and PulseX sacrificed with HEX that they got back here when it was worth nothing.